What was the level of the spirit as it was coming down? Consciousness differs in the various worlds. For example, in the world of thought, in the first stage, consciousness was like something that can be described as trance-like. We were not aware of anything at all, just like the way somebody will go into a trance. When we moved to the second one, which is the desire world, our consciousness was a bit improved. It was like a dreamless sleep. But when we moved to the etheric region, which is the third stage, our consciousness was like a dream. But when we got to the chemical region where we are now, that is where we had self-consciousness. That is how our consciousness evolved as the spirit descended through these various worlds. There were super beings in charge of us in our descent through matter to fulfill the divine plan. We did not do this by ourselves. There were higher beings who were in charge of us. Example, the lords of form, the lords of mind, archangels, angels, and then we ourselves called virgin spirits or humanity. Now, let's look at this. The physical and the spiritual development of humanity is linked to this earth planet. Our physical and spiritual development are linked to the planet. That is to say, there is a chemistry between us and the planet. One affects the other. Progressively, the planet, this earth planet, and the bodies of humanity changed from soft to hard. Initially, the earth planet wasn't as hard as it is today. I'm talking about the crust of the earth. It is the same with us. Initially, we were not as hard as our bodies are today. At a point in time, our threefold spiritual aspects and material bodies were aligned. Initially, they were separate. But when we got to the last stage, the spiritual aspects and the material bodies were aligned. They were put together. The four material bodies were developed in line with the movement of the spiritual impulse stage by stage. There is a spiritual energy, a spiritual current that directs how these things should be. Additional work was done in each of the stages and movements for improvement. It means the movement of the spiritual impulse enhances itself stage after stage. The four stages that we have traveled, each one of them contains spheres on which the spiritual impulse moved in spirals of 7 major movements. It is not repetitive, it is spiral. It increases one above the other. They are linked. Now, in this fourth stage, let us see how we have moved with the spiritual impulse. The first movement, humanity completed. The second movement, we have completed. It is same with the third and the fourth. We have completed all those movements. We are now in the fifth movement. Humanity is in the fifth movement that is ongoing. The sixth movement and the seventh movement, they are futuristic. We are yet to go there, and that is where we are heading. What are the signs of the spiritual impulse? The spiritual impulse reflects mainly in skin color, bodily structure, and cultural practices of individuals and society. We did not do these things by ourselves. There was energy that was directing these things. This spiritual impulse impacts civilization, political organization, economy, artifacts and technologies, social norms, traditions and customs, religion and language. The spiritual impulse directs and affects all these things. The impulse increases movement after movement. So the fifth movement in which we are now is an improvement above the fourth movement. And the seventh movement that will come, or the sixth movement that will come, will also be improvement above this fifth movement. Cultures that do not develop fast enough in the preceding movement, in the previous movement, they lag as others become more advanced. It is a natural law. We can't do much about it. Gradually, the foot draggers in the failed culture, they fall out from the scheme of evolution. They have become so unresponsive to that spiritual impulse. They are non-adaptive. So what happened? They cannot keep pace with others on this planet. In the previous movements, many things happened.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.